Hello and welcome everyone to Bocky's Tutorials. This is going to be my first tutorial and I hope you will enjoy. I will be showing you how to make this little bowl cover in this tutorial. The bowl cover is made up of these strands of minis that you see here and this coaster. I'll be showing you how to make all of those parts and how to connect. To make these strands of minis, you will need round 1 of the woven crochet heart pattern. It's a free pattern that you will find in my Ravelry store. The woven crochet heart is made up of 2 of these parts and the mini strands are in between here. So this is a mini strand with 6 minis, but you can easily deviate from that amount. So here's one with 10 and here's one with 4. It's very easy to change. And what we're going to make for the basket is 12 strands of 4. And I'm going to show you how they are made. This is the cotton that I'm using and I'm crocheting on a hook size 3 millimeters. To start the mini strand, we are going to make a magic ring. This is how I do it. I pick up the loop in the back there, just hold it all together, and then pull the yarn through this loop here. There you go. That does not count as a chain or a stitch. So let's start that first mini. Chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, that's the next corner, 3 double crochet again, so nothing new here up to now. Chain 2 again, next corner. At this point I like to pull that magic ring closed a bit. Chain 3 double crochet again, and then things start to change. So the first mini granny square is looking like this right now, and it's not complete, and we're going to leave it as it is, and we're going to start on the next mini. So instead of going around the corner here, we're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does not count as a stitch. We are going to make the center eye of the next mini, and to make that, just flip this chain over here, and then we're going to slip stitch in the back loop of the 3rd chain. I'm just going to show you where that will be. So the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3. This is the 3rd chain. Flip it over, and this is the loop that we will be slip stitching into. So slip stitch in there, and before you make this the pull through, mark this loop here, this part, with a stitch marker. That is going to be the next eye of the next mini granny. Now we can make the slip stitch. So pull the yarn through both loops, slip stitch made. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which does not count as a stitch. I'm going to hold it like this and take the hook out of that loop. Insert the hook in the 2 loops of the double crochet here, grab the loop again and pull it through. This is called a pull loop through. So now we start that next granny and we crochet in this eye here. 3 double crochet are going to be made, but also they're going to be a bit different because this is the first double crochet. You take the hook out again, insert it in those both loops of the next double crochet of this first granny, pick it up again and pull it through. So that's another pull loop through. We're making the second double crochet now. Second double crochet made. Take the hook out, insert the hook in the 2 loops of that next double crochet on this previous granny, grab the loop and pull it through. Third pull loop through made. And now we're going to make the 3rd double crochet, and we have to connect the corner to connect to the corner. So another pull loop through is made in this chain 2 space here. Pull loop through, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet in the eye where the stitch marker is in. So 1. Oh, this is a bit big here, just keep it smaller. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, working a corner, and 3 double crochet again. 1, 2, 3. Now the second mini granny is ready as far as it can be, because it's going to be incomplete as well. And we continue to make the next mini. So chain 6 again and repeat all those steps I just told you. And when I am on the 4th mini, the last one, I'll get back to you. I have made the 3 partial minis and I'm on to the 4th mini. I'm just going to take the stitch marker out every time. I'm going to slip stitch in this 3rd back bump. 1, 2, 3. You can count them there as well. So insert the hook there and move the marker to this space here and make the slip stitch. Chain 3, and this all doesn't count as a stitch here. What I forgot to mention, the chain 2 at the beginning here does not count as a stitch either. We'll get back to that later. Anyway, let's continue with this 4th mini. There's going to be a pull loop through again. So I'm just going to demonstrate this one more time. First double crochet made, 2nd pull loop through, 2nd double crochet made, 3rd pull loop through, 3rd double crochet made, 4th pull loop through in this chain 2 space here, chain 2, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and the 4th mini granny is incomplete, as are all the previous mini grannies. At this point, you could choose to make your strand longer if you like. So then you'd have to chain 6 again and repeat all those steps. But we want the mini strand to only have 4 minis. So we're going to work back along this side here. I'm just going to remove this. We don't need that anymore. So instead of chaining 6, we're going to chain 2, which is another corner, and we're going to do 3 double crochet in this eye here. 1, 2, 3. So this last mini is shaping up. Chain 1, and now we're going to slip stitch under these 2 loops here, these 2. So that's where you're going to insert the hook. Slip stitch in there, and this mini is ready. Chain 1, chain 1, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and then follows another chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1. So chain 1, slip stitch in those 2 loops there, and a chain 1, and 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Almost there. Chain 1, slip stitch once again in these 2 loops here. So chain 1, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2. You can cut the yarn now and pull it up out of the stitch. So this is what you should have. I'm going to pull this starting yarn end tight, and I'm going to work it away in this magic ring here. So I'm doing that with the darning needle, and I'm just going to insert it right over here. I don't know how anybody else does it, but this is the way I do it. So I just insert it in under a few more stitches there to make sure that it doesn't unravel, and then one more time back through all those stitches that I just did, and then you can cut it short. So this is one yarn end worked away, and that'll be fine. And this last yarn end is worked away over that chain 2 that we made in the beginning. That does not count as a stitch. Insert the needle behind the 2 loops of that first double crochet and back in the chain stitch here, the second one, and down that top of chain 2. And I'm just going to pull it so tight that you don't see it anymore, because this is not going to count as a stitch anywhere. If you encounter that during the rest of the project, you're just going to skip this part. So what we need to do now is make 11 more of these. When you have your 12 strands of 4 minis each ready, this is the way to lay them in front of you. So for assembly of this basket, just to make sure you get the order of the colors right, I attached them all together with a little stitch marker. You can use a safety pin, whatever you like. If you lay them straight, you'll see how I've attached them. So this is the manner of attachment. And these will be the points at the top of the basket, and these will be the points at the bottom of the basket. Make sure you have all the yarn ends in the same direction, and we can start connecting these strands. These strands are connected with this yellow here. I'm going to use white this time because I like the way the colors pop when you use white, and I'll show you how that is done. Connecting these minis, we'll be working in the back loops of every stitch, every chain and every PLT along these mini strands, and we're going to attach yarn in the back loop of this chain here and just pull up a loop. You can leave that strand and that yarn end hanging there, and then we're going to slip stitch in the back loop of the next 3 double crochet. So do not pull it too tight. That's 1. A little bit tight, but not too tight. 2, 3. Then come 3 slip stitches in this chain, the PLT and the chain. So 3 more in the back loops. 1, 2, 3. This is where the 2 mini strands are connected with the stitch marker. I'm just going to remove the stitch marker because it's in the way now, and then it's easier to show you what's going on here. We're going to do 3 more slip stitches in the back loop. I'm just going to take this out of the way. So 1, 2, 3, and in the chain stitch here and back, and 1 more in the PLT here, slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this second double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this double crochet, and chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. There is no PLT here, so we're just going to take this, use this chain stitch here in the back loop, slip stitch, chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to work on the mini strand that comes next in line, which is this one here. Make sure the yarn ends are all facing down, and the connection is going to be made right up here. So I chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch in this chain stitch here of the second mini, chain 1. Now slip stitch around this chain 3 here, chain 1 again, and slip stitch in that second double crochet here. I hope this is all visible clearly. So this is what you have at the moment. We're going to chain 1 again, chain 1, and slip stitch in this chain 3 on the opposite side, chain 1 again, and slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT here. If you can't find it, just pull it apart a bit. It's over here in the back loop, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch in this chain 3 on the opposite side, chain 1, slip stitch in the second double crochet here, chain 1, slip stitch in this chain 3 space here, chain 1, and slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT. Now it's gonna get easier once you get the hang of it. This side of this mini is gonna get connected to this side of that mini, and we're gonna do that with the zipper method. We're gonna insert the hook in the back loop of this. Wait, he's skipping. There's a chain stitch there. In the back loop of the chain stitch, and in the back loop of that slip stitch that was made in the chain stitch. This one here. And pull up a loop. And then the back loop of this double crochet and the back loop of that next stitch there. Insert the hook there. It's a bit difficult, but just in this loop here, this white loop, pull up the yarn through all those loops, slip stitch in the next back loop of that double crochet there, and the back loop of that white slip stitch there, just that one. Pull up the yarn through all those loops. Almost there. There's one more double crochet there. Insert in the back loop of that double crochet and the back loop of that white slip stitch there. Pull the yarn through. Then there's one chain. This chain here belongs to this side of the mini strand. So this chain gets connected to that side there. The next slip stitch. So pull yarn through. And now we work around the corner in the back loop of this chain here. Slip stitching our way through there, so pull through. Then this is where this chain 2 is. That's why it's easy to have the yarn here. So you know this is where you skip that little thing here. That's not a stitch, doesn't count. So slip stitch in this double crochet here. 1, the next one, 2, 3, and the chain stitch 4. And now you are at this point where we just started. So you repeat this. This whole sequence is repeated between all the mini strands. And because this is getting wider here, it will fan out a bit. And that was my intention. So I'm just going to check if the video is clear enough. All 12 strands of minis have now been connected with that slip stitching and chaining all along the sides here. And I am back at this point here and ready to go up this side. And then it needs to be connected to that side. So I'm just going to demonstrate that part to you one more time. What you need to keep in mind is that all the yarn ends are facing in the same direction. That's just the neatest. So let's get going with this last connection here. This is the 12th strand of minis. I'm just gonna show you once more how to work on the way up. So slip stitching in the side, in the back loop of all the stitches here, not too tight, because you need to work in those stitches on the way back. Well, not these, but the ones you're going to make here, you need to work in those when you go back. So keep on slip stitching until you reach the this PLT here. That's where things start to change. I've already shown you this, I'm just showing you it again. And then we'll connect this 12th mini granny to the first mini this 12th strand of minis to the first strand of minis. So there is the last slip stitch in that PLT. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this double crochet. I didn't get the stitch right there. There you go. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT. Chain 3, slip stitch in the back loop of this double crochet. That's the second double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch in this first chain here. There's no PLT there, so we're just picking that one. Chain 2, and now we're going to connect to this very first one here. So we chain 2, and what we've been doing all the time is slip stitch in this chain here. So we're going to do that here as well. It's just the same, just now that you're connecting and making everything round. Or making everything round. It's going to be round when this is connected. Chain 1, slip stitch in this chain space here. Chain 1, slip stitch in the back loop of this double crochet. Chain 1, slip stitch in this chain space here. The next one, chain 1, slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT. Sometimes you just have to pull it apart a bit to find it. Chain 1, slip stitch in this chain space again. Well, not again, but it's similar to this one. Chain 1, slip stitch in the back loop of this double crochet here, the second double crochet. Chain 1, slip stitch in the next chain 3 space. Chain 1, slip stitch in the back loop of this PLT here. And now we're going to slip stitch this part to that part. There's a chain here in the back loop, and this is called the zipper method. So when you're just connecting the parts by using the back loops of those stitches all the time. So that's a little bit of a zipper here. In the back loop of this double crochet, in the back loop of this slip stitch here that was made in the double crochet on that side. Those are a bit hard to get into, but it's possible. So pull yarn through the next double crochet, back loop here, back loop of this slip stitch here, pull yarn through. There's one more double crochet, this one here, the back loop, and that needs to be connected to the back loop there. And now I think I went wrong. Yes, I missed one. just go back one. So this double crochet, the back loop gets it. I missed this one here, see? In the back loop of that slip stitch. This double crochet, the back loop gets connected to the back loop of this slip stitch. And then there's the chain, one chain that also needs to be connected to the next back loop of that slip stitch there. And then slip stitch in this chain, no connecting there. Skip this chain 2, that doesn't count, remember? It's where the yarn end is. So we're going to skip that. 3 slip stitches in those 3 double crochet here. 2, 3, and then there's one more chain. And now you've gone all around. What you can do is slip stitch around this very first starting slip stitch. So then it's all connected. You do not need to cut the yarn. We're going to use this to connect this little sleeve, this round part now. We're going to connect that. We're going to use this yarn here to connect that to the bottom of the bowl. I have one bottom here that you can get the picture. And we're going to use that to connect. So don't cut it. And we'll make this bottom first. The bottom of the bowl is just a simple coaster. And this is one of my free patterns. It's the cotton candy coaster set, and it's available in Dutch and English for free in my Ravelry store. And I'll walk you through all the steps, and you will be able to make your own coaster set or just finish the bowl with me. Round 1 of the coaster in a magic ring. So there's the magic ring. Chain 1, that does not count as a stitch. 6 single crochet in the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull the magic ring closed and close the round with a slip stitch in this first single crochet here. So that was round 1. Round 2 starts with a chain, which is counting as a stitch. Single crochet in the same stitch. 2 single crochet in every stitch to the end. So that is 2 here. And at the end of this round, you will have made 1 chain, that starting chain, and 11 single crochet. The starting chain will be turned into that 12th single crochet. So here are the last 2. 1, oh, 2. This is the end of round 2. Pull the yarn up and out. And now I'll show you how to make an invisible finish, which will turn that starting chain into a single crochet. So with a darning needle, insert the hook under the 2 loops. This is the starting chain, under the 2 loops of that first single crochet of the round. Pull it through. Then insert the hook in the top of that last stitch and between those legs of that starting chain. So now you pull it closed and you will notice the V, this V here, that is changing this chain 1 into a single crochet. So round 2 is finished here. You can work away the yarn end in here, and I'll get back to you with the next few rounds. Round 3 of the coaster. Start with a slip stitch in any stitch of round 2. So there we go. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch. There you go. I'm just going to work over this yarn end here, so then that saves you some yarn ends. Single crochet in the next stitch. That's this one here. Now we need to do a spike stitch. In the general part of this pattern I have explained that the spike stitch, to make the spike stitch you insert the hook 2 rounds lower. So normally you would insert the next stitch here, but you're going 2 rounds lower, and you're going to insert the hook under the single crochet in which you just made the last single crochet. So we made the single crochet in this one here, and we're going to insert the hook there to make the spike. The spike, we pull up the yarn to this height and finish the single crochet. The spike stitch is just a longer single crochet. What you need to pay attention to is that you do not skip the stitches that are behind the spike. And it's a bit difficult to see now, so I'm just going to do it again. There's the single crochet that we do not want to miss. So after we made this spike here, and keep your eye on that single crochet behind there, because that's going to be the next single crochet. This one here. Oh, we might have done it too tight. No, there you go. So single crochet, another one, and I'm still working over that yarn end, and then the next spike stitch. The spike stitch is made under the single crochet that you just did the last stitch in. So under this stitch here, there we make the next spike stitch, and keep your eye on this stitch here, because that's going to be the next stitch to single crochet in. It's going to be hiding behind the spike stitch. See, I can't even find it now, so I'm just going to have another look. See if I'm not missing it. It's going to be that one there. Spike stitch is just a longer single crochet. 2 single crochet again. 1, 2, and we're going to make another spike stitch in the base of the single crochet again, the base of the single crochet where we just worked our other single crochet in. So spike stitch there, and keep your eye on this single crochet here, because that's going to be the one that's going to be hiding, and that's going to be the one to work in next. So 2 more single crochet, and I think you got the picture now. So the base of this single crochet here, that's where we spike stitch in. Keep your eye on this single crochet here, that it's going to be hiding behind the spike, and that's going to be the next one. So you got the picture, right? 2 single crochet, and then there's going to be another spike in the base of the single crochet here. Keep your eye on that one single crochet that's going to be hiding. There you go. 1, 2, and spike stitch here. So now we're at the end of round 3. We should have 6 spike stitches, so just check that. Slip stitch into that very first single crochet, and we do not change color yet. Wait, I might have done it too tight there. It's okay. Slip stitch. So this is what round 3 will be looking like. For round 4 I have chained 1. That's going to be changed into a single crochet with an invisible finish at the end of the round. Chain 1, single crochet in the next stitch, and then pattern says 1 increase, and the increase should be made on this spike. So if you're not on the spike with your increase, then you did do something wrong. Increase on that stitch, 2 single crochet, increase on the spike, and that's how you continue to the end of round 4. Round 4 ends with an increase in that last spike. So now we're going to change this chain 1 here into a single crochet 2 with the invisible finish. Insert the hook under the loops of that first single crochet. So I'm just going to show you this one more time. Insert the hook, the needle, in between the both loops of that last single crochet and between the legs of that chain 1, and that first single crochet of that first chain has now been changed into a single crochet. Work away the yarn end at the back here. It's quite easy with all these single crochets, and we can start on round 5. For round 5 I will be changing color again. So in this pattern you do 2 rounds in one color every time. So after every 2 rounds you change color. That will give this kind of result. Round 5 says start in the second single crochet of any increase of round 4. So here's an increase, and we're going to start in the second single crochet there and just pull up a loop, slip stitch, chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch, up, 2 single crochet, 1, 2. The spike stitch is going to be made again at the bottom of this single crochet here, and that's going to be between these 2 single crochets here. So that's maybe that's easier to see. Spike. Still keep an eye on that stitch behind the spike, because we're not going to skip those stitches. 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. Spike stitch again. It's going to be down here again. Keep your eye on this single crochet here, and that's going to be the next one after the spike stitch is made, and it's going to be hiding a bit. So there it is. 4 single crochet. This is how we go to the end of this round. I'll meet you at the end. I'm making the last spike stitch of round 5, and then there's one more single crochet to be made right over there in that stitch that is hiding. Slip stitch into the very first double crochet here, and the round is closed. Now we start on round 6. Chain 1. This will be transformed into a single crochet with the invisible finish at the end of this round. 2 single crochet, 1, 2. Increase. The increase should be made at the top of this spike stitch. If you are not at that point, then there's something wrong with your count. I just check again if you didn't miss a stitch or something. 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. Increase at the top of that spike, and this is how you continue around 6 to the beginning, where we will close the round with an invisible finish over that chain 1. And I've shown you that before, so I'll be back with you at the start of round 7. Round 7 says start the round in the second single crochet of any increase of round 6. So here's an increase, and we're going to start in the second stitch here and just pull up a loop. I'm going to work over this yarn end, and then you can just cut it later. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch. I'm going to pull a little bit tight there. 2 single crochet. 1, 2. Spike stitch. Spike stitch is made at the base of this single crochet here. Keep an eye on that next single crochet because it's going to be hiding, and you want to work in that as well. 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Spike stitch at the base. It's this one here. Keep your eye on this one here because that's going to be the stitch that is hiding. There, it's hiding there. We need to work in that to make the increase in this round. 1, 2, 3. You can just cut this yarn. It's okay. It's steady there. Spike stitch at the base of this one again, and I think you get the picture now. And 3 single crochet. So I'll meet you at the end of this round. I'm at the end of round 7, the last 3 single crochet, and then it ends with a spike stitch at the base of that single crochet there. So close the round with a slip stitch in that very first single crochet, pull it tight, and we continue in round 8, chain 1. This is going to be changed into a stitch again, so this counts as a stitch. Single crochet in the next stitch, and that 47 times, so count that you have 47. There are no increases in this round, so just single crochet to the very end and close the round with an invisible finish over that starting single crochet. Just going to make this one neater here. And then I'll meet you at the beginning of round 9. Yep, that's better. And this is what it's starting to look like. Round 8 is finished. This is what it's looking like right now. Round 9 starts above any spike of round 7. So I'm just going to pick this spike here and insert the hook there and pull up a loop with a slip stitch. Chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch, a single crochet in the next stitch, and that goes twice, and then it says spike. Spike is made right there. Keep your eye on that stitch that's going to be hiding, this one here. At the same time, work over this yarn end. 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next spike is made at the bottom of the stitch here, so under the stitch that you worked your last stitch in. Spike. Keep your eye on that 1 single crochet that's going to be hiding, this one here. 4 single crochet, and that's how we continue all around for round 9. I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of round 9. Just 1 more spike stitch and 1 last single crochet in this one here. Slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. That's this one here, and you're ready for round 10. Round 10, chain 1 and just single crochet all around. Single crochet in the next stitch. This one's going to be changed into single crochet with this final invisible finish at the end when you close the round. So just 59 single crochet all around, and I'll meet you again at the start of round 11. Before we start round 11, I just want to explain that it might be a good idea to choose the color that you used for the seam on the basket, because then you won't see any connection marks. So I'm going to use this white here for the last round, the last 2 rounds of this coaster. And round 11 starts above any spike stitch of round 9. And this is spike stitch of round 9, and I'll just start over here, insert the hook there, and pick up a loop. That's the slip stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in the same stitch. So far, so good. Single crochet in the next stitch 3 times. So I'm just gonna clear it out of here a bit. So, and this is keeping my hand in the correct position. 1, 2, 3. Spike stitch. Spike stitch is made again, like in all the other rounds, at the base of the single crochet in which the last stitch was made. So this one here, spike stitch. Do not forget to crochet in the stitch behind that. 5 single crochet, 1, 2, crocheting over this yarn end all the time. Well, not all the time, but as far as possible, so then that yarn end will be gone. 4, 5, and the next spike stitch. And keep an eye on that single crochet there, because that is where you continue with the next 5 single crochet. And so we make this round, and I'll meet you at the end. Making the last spike stitch of round 11, 1 more single crochet, and close the round with a slip stitch in that first single crochet. Round 11 is done. Should look like this. Round 12 starts with a chain 1, single crochet in the next stitch, and that is done 71 times. So there's no increase in this round, just single crochet all around till you get to the last stitch here, the 71 stitches, 71 single crochet. Fasten off and close the round with an invisible finish over that chain 1. So that will be a single crochet, counting as a single crochet 2. And then we'll be ready to finish the basket. As you can see here, these coasters match the basket perfectly, so it wouldn't look odd to make a few of these for your Easter table. But now we're going to use it for the basket, so let's carry on with that. Stay focused. Look, this is the sleeve we made before, and this is the bottom of the basket we have just made. That's going to be at the bottom there. To make it a bit easier, because all these yarn ends are still here, I suggest to work away these yarn ends first, because then it will be a lot easier to connect the bottom of this part, the sleeve. And what I do, I'm just going to show you, I enter here, so, and then go back down there. And then I work away this yarn end in the magic ring there, so nobody will ever see it. So all these yarn ends that you still have can be worked away in that first magic ring. And then it will all be easier. You won't have all those yarn ends in the way when we start attaching it to the bottom. So to get this loop out there, or not out, but to get it in that it won't look odd. I'm just going to stick the needle up there first and then back down here into that magic ring. So if you do that, you won't see anything odd here. If you would insert it back down here, this loop would be a bit sloppy here, and that's not happening now. So that's all I wanted to show you. I'm going to do that first, and then I'll show you how to connect to this this coaster here. All the yarn ends have been worked away except for this one, because this is what we're going to use to connect to the coaster. This is what the inside is looking like. I'm just going to take this out and insert the hook there. What we have is 72 stitches on the coaster, and we have 12 strands. So 6 stitches on each strand will go around the coaster. Forget about the math, it's not important, I'll just show you. We're going to connect each pointed edge. There are 2 chain stitches here, in which we did slip stitches before. So we're going to use these two of each pointed part to connect it to the coaster. Make sure you have the coaster with the right side up. And we're going to start in the second chain stitch here, because the first one is here, so we don't work backwards. We'll take that one as a last stitch when we finish the round. So insert the hook in the back loop of this slip stitch and pick any slip stitch of any single crochet on the coaster and slip stitch through those. Now slip stitch 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Connect these 2 with the slip stitch through the back loops to the coaster. That's the first. This is the second. And then 4 slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 and those 2 make 6. 6 times 12 is 72. There's that math again. These 2 are the stitches we need to connect. So in the back loop there, slip stitch, and in the back loop of the next one, and the back loop of the next single crochet, slip stitch, and then there's 4 slip stitches again on just the coaster. 2, 3, 4. I think you get the picture now, right? So these 2, I'll do it one more time, get slip stitched to the coaster in the back loops. And there you go. And then there's 4 slip stitch again, and that's all you do to connect the sleeve to the coaster. So I'll meet you when I've connected all 12 strands. I connected this last strand here. I've did my 4 slip stitch here, and there's only 1 more slip stitch that we need to do. That's the one I told you in the beginning about, this chain here in the back loop of that single crochet there, and pull through. So everything is connected. You can cut the yarn and work away that yarn end in the back of this coaster. This is the inside of my bowl now, and all we need to do is do the finishing round over the top edge here. I'll show you that in a minute. What I did want to say, Somebody noticed that this can be used as a little hat as well. I can imagine that already. If you're going to do that, if you want to do that, then I would attach the coaster the other way around, so with the right side out, so that you have the right side out here everywhere. Not that the back of the coaster is ugly, but that would be even better. And now we're going to do this last round here. And then I'm going to show you the difference between a blocked ball and an unblocked ball. For this final round, I'm going to attach the yarn in the back loop of any stitch. I like to start at the top here, but it really doesn't matter where you start. And all you're going to do is slip stitch in the back loop of every next stitch. Every stitch, every chain stitch. Here's a chain. And every PLT that has not been worked in yet. Slip stitch in this chain 2, slip stitch in the next chain stitch here. We only work in stitches that are not worked in yet. Slip stitch all around, slip stitch all around. Just one slip stitch in each stitch and each chain, in the back loops only, all around. And you can add a picot at the top if you like, the pointed part here, but I thought there was enough going on already, so I didn't. Here's an unworked PLT. Slip stitch in this chain 2 space here, slip stitch in the next unworked chain, and that's all you do. I made the last slip stitch here, pulled the yarn up and out, and just to work away the yarn neatly, I'll just make another look-alike stitch here. So, and these yarn ends can be worked away in the back here. I'm probably going to work them away in this magic ring here. This ball has not been blocked yet, and it's looking a bit wonky. This is the blocked ball. So then if you see the difference very clearly, so I like it better when it's blocked. To block it, I used a glass bowl upside down, and I used a steam blocker. But if you just wet this and then use pins to secure these points down all around, all 12. And then when it's dry, it will be as pretty as this one. It will still need a bowl inside to hold eggs or Easter eggs or whatever, a smaller bowl then. This is the bowl that I used for the blocking. I used a smaller bowl for the eggs because it's very floppy. You could use it as a hat as well, no problem. I think that will be very cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think, what could be improved, and I hope it was good enough that you like to see another tutorial. So enjoy the new week next week and have fun making your bowl cover.